Ernest, thanks so much for being a part of the Working Songwriter podcast. Man, you are one of the rarest things in the year 2023 because you're like a rare animal of some kind in that you live in Nashville, Tennessee, but you're also born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. I think there's like three of you left
That's
at
right.
this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and Mitchell.
What was Nashville like growing up, and how is it different to now?
There's a lot more high rises.
Yeah,
Traffic's a lot worse, but the restaurant scene's way better. Like it's
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
give and take. So I'm definitely not upset being in a hot city. But
Oh
it's
yeah,
cool. It's cool to be from here for sure.
for sure, man. Were you aware at that time growing up that it was kind of a company town for music, or for you it was just the town you were growing up in and that happened to be there as well?
Both. Yeah. I mean, I always knew it was Music City. My mom had a real estate office on 16th, just down the road from where I'm at now, and um, we always knew somebody kind of that was in the world. So I was aware, but my world growing up basically consisted of a baseball field and a basketball gym. My dad was coaching, so my world was just kind of right around Green Hills and Franklin.
So this wasn't, we have a lot of people on this show who say, man, when I was 6 years old, I knew it was going to be music and nothing else, and I never turned away. You're very different than that then.
Yeah, not very because at 6 years old I was still probably banging on a piano or a drum set, and I was always gravitating towards music and writing. Middle school probably just writing love poems and then turning them into songs when I got home and got a guitar. And Space Jam soundtrack, got that for third grade with a banjo. That my life changed forever. I started playing banjo and uh, learned to rap basically from listening to that. I was rapping like to every word. There's
Yeah.
there's all kinds of great stuff on the Space Jam soundtrack, the
Dude,
original one.
I can speak to this. I have a 7-year-old son, and he just discovered the Space Jam soundtrack like 3 weeks ago.
The OG one or
The OG one, and he's like, "This is the greatest fucking thing I've ever heard
yeah,
in my
I hit
entire
'em high, hit 'em high, hit 'em high, and you hit it. You go, I'm going straight to the hole. You ain't got no game. I'm working and I'm working
dude."
coming through rock a
It's so
crane.
good. There's
Yeah,
like there's a couple Coolio tracks on there
yeah,
that I had forgotten were on there,
yeah.
and then
You
two
got
things.
early Jay Z too, and
Yes.
Jay Z was writing Bugs Bunny's verse in the
Oh,
Jay
I
Z
didn't know
was
that,
Jay Z ghost wrote the Bugs Bunny verse.
dude. I did not know that at
Yeah,
all. It's gonna when I'm listening to it in the car today after school.
you'll pick it
I'll
up. It's
know.
Jay
Yeah.
Z.
I'll listen for his cadence.
Hmm.
The other kind of complicated part of it, well, it's kind of complicated and awesome at the same time. He loves "I Believe I Can Fly," which now that we know what we know about R. Kelly, everything's kind of a bummer. But that being said, you listen to that song, and by the end of it, I almost have like tears in my eyes again. Man, it's
No,
such a
and he
beautiful
wrote
song.
that song for the movie. I didn't
Did he?
realize that till later. It was like they gave him, "Hey, we're doing a movie. Write a song," and he wrote "I Believe I Can Fly." It's like, look, I do not condone any of R. Kelly's behavior, but god damn, that song fucking rocks, dude.
Oh my God, it's so good, dude. And
That's a
there's like a
great
key
song.
change when the key change hits.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
experiencing all this in my minivan,
I
20.
can fly.
Oh my God, man. So you were kind of getting hit by that music a lot more than like, let's say, like the 90s country that was hitting at that time.
Well, the onion continues to peel because I was in my dad's truck. We would have been either a sports talk radio or country music. They're not like huge music fans. It was just what was on the radio, and we had the 50 number one George Strait 50 number one double
Oh yeah.
disc. I
Yeah, yeah.
wore the shit out of that all through elementary school, middle school. I mean, to this day, now it's just
Yes.
on Spotify and iTunes. But um, yeah, like in in my little Walkman, the stuff that I was listening to was like a burnt CD of a bunch of shit my parents wouldn't let me listen to, like heavy metal and Eminem and shit like that when I was like in fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh grade. And then the stuff that I could listen to around then was the countries and oldies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm a product of that to this day because I get to get my rocks off a little bit on stuff like Broadway Girls and that writing Morgan's verse with him for that Stand By Me song he just put out with Dirk, and we got some other stuff in the work with other rappers, and it's just cool because I get Heartless. Like when Heartless, I freestyle rapped that the second verse. Monday night was definitely not a night. Tuesday night was just another fight. That was a freestyle one take that ended up making the
No
so like
shit.
my rap influences have been able to help me in my country endeavors uh,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
ways
yeah.
that people wouldn't know unless we're having this conversation. But yeah, bro, I owe as much as I do to Marshall Mathers as I do to George Strait.
Oh yeah, man. And that 50 number ones, that one's still good. I turn that on if I'm really, really hungover and I'm really bummed out about my life. You turn on 50 number ones, and by the time you get to check yes or no, you're in
Yes,
good shape, man.
yes,
So you, even though you're interested in music and you're kind of interested in creativity, like you said, your life was kind of centering around more the athletic
mhm.
world, and then you come into adulthood. From what I can tell, you hit some setbacks pretty early on, some pretty like intense and heavy setbacks early on. You suffered a heart attack early on at
Yeah.
19. How did that change your life? What happened?
Man, it was, at 19, we're in the middle of baseball season and on a state tournament run, and I just had myocarditis, totally random on a Sunday. And this was pre-vaccine, so
Pre-patch, yeah.
this was just good old-fashioned myocarditis.
Original
Yeah,
flavor.
just before it was trendy. But yeah, I mean, dude, as a 19-year-old, whatever senior in high school, it wasn't the most impactful thing to me in the moment. It was just like, oh God, I got to sit out of baseball for 2 weeks. I'm like,
Yeah,
it was a terrible Sunday. Then I had to rest for 2 weeks. Went to the hospital. Boom, boom. I mean, obviously, the older I get, the more I realize the weight of the situation.
yeah.
And my parents and everybody. There's so many visitors, and it's like, God, guys, just get me back on the baseball field,
Right, right, right.
But yeah, that what I think it did for me though in that moment, it definitely forced me to stop for the first time. Like probably up until that point was 2 weeks of rest. I just never did.
Yeah,
So 2 weeks of not being able to do anything, not knowing if I was going to be able to play baseball again. Because if the heart damage had stayed the same or gotten worse, I would have been able. I wouldn't have been able to do like crazy activities like that. But when I
right.
went back and got test or they scanned and everything, like 2 weeks later, it was all repaired. So that was, I think, part of that was I was in pretty good shape as a 19-year-old kid, and
Yeah,
then um, the rest is divine. So,
yes.
but I didn't really. I didn't look back at that, I just kept living life. I still had crazy years ahead of it. I was
Yeah.
like, I still had the summer before my college. Life went on, and now I see that moment was very pivotal for me to say that, okay, well, I'm supposed to be here.
Yes.
It wasn't ever a pity party for me. I was like, let's get going.
It's kind of a beautiful thing to think about being a young person, and when you're a young person with your eyes on the prize, the amount of stuff that you can just look past. I mean, you basically had a heart attack from original recipe myocarditis. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And yet, still, it's like I'm sure your parents weren't thinking like, "Oh, he's got to sit out for baseball for 2 weeks." Your parents were like, "God, let this boy continue to live." But it's kind of cool. Like, I think it allows you to kind of accomplish things at a young age that I don't know. You get older. I'm in my late 30s now. Like mortality is more of a thing. You know, if,
yeah,
if, if I were to have
yeah,
myocarditis
totally.
and a heart attack, it would affect the rest of my life. But it's so cool at that age, that spirit that just allows you to just keep driving forward and just kind of
Right.
brushing it off.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of I think I still carry a little bit of that, and maybe it's delusion and a healthy bit of it sometimes because um, shit. I mean, just the journey of to getting where I am today of ups and downs and music career and the whole. If I were to look back at the darkest points of my life in the last 10 years while pursuing this dream,
Hmm.
in those moments I was still just like, oh, we got this. We're gonna get there. It's like,
Yeah.
I had maybe $8 to my name. I was going through my deceased grandmother's house getting books to go sell at McCabe's for gas money and like a half gram of weed. Like it's like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
I was broke working at the donut den, but like still this guy. We're gonna make it. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna get out of here. It wasn't like this is gonna be the rest of my life.
Yes.
We're gonna get through now. I didn't realize, I didn't grow up in like the richest house or the poorest house,
Yeah.
so I was never going homeless. Luckily, was never
Right.
even a thought in my head. Meanwhile, I'm living in my at the time girlfriend's parents' garage on a couch. So I was pretty much homeless, but I didn't feel like it. I got to drive, her brother's BMW around, so it was fine.
Yeah. You do wonder what the people around you were thinking at the time. Because when you feel that kind of like, when you see your own star and you decide to follow your own star, you can feel your own potential and it feels real to you. But you just have this feeling that the people around you are just like, what the fuck is this guy
Definitely.
doing?
Oh God, and yeah, but more delusion because in those moments I wasn't even thinking about that. Now I look back and I'm even like, what were you doing?
Yes. Yeah,
And
yeah.
when I dropped out of college, gave up a baseball scholarship after my freshman year. Went to the islands with Delaney's family. I met them, and immediately, like 6 weeks later, I'm all in their family. We're going to the islands, and we're going to stay. And hey, I think I'm going to stay here for a year.
Hmm.
And everybody in my church and school small bubble world, dare I say judgmental, were
Yeah.
just like, oh God, like pray. I was on every prayer board in town. I still am, but it's like, yeah, and I don't blame them. I don't. Up until probably 3 or 4 years ago, people were still like, is he ever gonna get, is
Yeah.
anything ever gonna happen? I don't blame them because it's easy to only know what you know and see things, and you've seen it, especially in Nashville. These people have probably seen hundreds of people with my dreams,
Yes.
who end up unfortunately not being able to go grab it. And
Yes.
I realized I realized that that's a reality, but I've never taken ownership over that being my reality.
I know what you mean, man. I'm going to have a strange relationship with it. So I dropped out of college. I've been doing music for 15 years. But the more that I do it, I think with my own kids, where I'm going to have a strange relationship with it, it's kind of forced me to be like, man, this is crazy. And all of you are becoming fucking stockbrokers. Okay.
Yes.
Like, so, but I don't want to push that on them. I don't want to push either one of those things because it
Yeah.
is a crazy dream. It's not for most people, but for the people that it is, I mean, you're living out a destiny right
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And look, I mean, if Ryman wants to get into this world, then I'll give him all the love and guidance that I can. And if he doesn't, that's great too. But the the cool thing about the grind, I know it's so cliche. It's like the journey is the journey. The
Yeah.
journey
Yeah.
is the goal. But like you look back, I'm 31 now. 10 years has flown just like that. And it's
Yeah.
like, hey, we are where we set out to be right now. If my world stopped spinning right now, I got where I wanted to be when I was 21. But now I'm 31 and I'm not where I want to be. So I
Yeah.
want to keep my feet going. It's like football drills, go to the whistles, keep your feet going. And so right now, finding a balance to keep my feet going and also take a moment to slow down and be a dad and a husband and all these things is like these are my challenges now, not like where's my next
Yeah.
meal money coming from.
Totally. Totally.
But it's worth it, bro. Like because you get little moments like getting out and singing with Kenny Chesney, and having a texting relationship with Kenny and him being like, "Yo, come sing with me," versus that summer at 18 singing Kenny Chesney in my truck on the way to the rope swing. It's like you can when you obtain these things, when these moments happen, when you're kicking it with Jelly Roll in 2010, hanging out, in the house, smoking and freestyle rapping, and then however many years later, we have a number one song on country music radio, and I got a Jelly Roll plaque sitting in my office.
That's
Like
great.
it doesn't matter how hard it is to get there. Those are the rewards that are like you can't put a price tag on.
It's funny, man. It's cool that you're able to appreciate that. I talk to a lot of folks who've had a lot of success, and a lot of times you find people who are they're so focused on the next thing. And it's not that you're not, but they're so focused on the next thing that they can't even appreciate, kind of some beautiful button ends like that. Someone that you used to kick it with, when you were 19 years old, maybe not going anywhere, and now you got a platinum record on the wall. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's important to take those milestones in.
Totally. Yeah, and I'm guilty of being head down and horse blinders, and
Yeah,
uh, I definitely probably miss celebrating some small successes along the way.
sure.
Um, but the ones that are hard to ignore, getting to go. I'm playing at the Ryman. I'm not desensitized to going and standing on that stage and looking up at that iconic view in the Rhine. Like that,
Yes.
getting to go play the Grand Ole Opry does not get old to me. And the gravity of what the Opry is because of what the Opry was is not lost on me. And I feel like, and I could be wrong, I could just be talking out of my ass, but I feel like the sacred nature of the Opry gets lost sometimes on some newer artists, and I
Hmm.
can't blame them because I don't know that. I mean, I grew up in Nashville,
Right.
um, and I grew up like in third grade. I was watching Ghost Riders in the Sky and like learning how like I idolized the old timey nature of the Opry more than some other
Yes.
people my age or younger would. But for me specifically, it's holy ground. It's country music holy ground. The Opry. It doesn't matter who else is playing that night, what's going on, what do you feel about the Opry. When you step in that circle, the people that have stepped in that circle and the people that stepped in that circle 60 years ago up till now, 100, 80, however many years when the circle was still at the Ryman, uh, that's like you have to respect that because we're carrying a torch as country music artists. Um, I want some kid 40 years from now to be like, oh my God, Ernest stood in this circle and
Yeah.
revere it the way that
Yes.
I revere it. And my forefathers stepped in that circle.
Indeed. So, talk to me. I think one of the most interesting parts of any artist's journey is how you get from, okay, you're the guy that's given up a baseball dream at 19, you've dropped out of college, you're bumming around in the islands for a year or two. How do you get from there? What's like one of the first steps to get from there to standing in that circle that you're talking about, that's hollowed ground? Like, what was kind of the granular nature of your move? Like, what's the first step that you take in that direction?
At the time, it was just writing a bunch of songs and playing beach bars. And then when I came back to Nashville, I had, a handful of songs that were no good and one that was kind of good. And I met the Warren brothers who took me under their wing and took me around town. Took two meetings, one at UMG and one at Sony ATV, and I signed a pub deal at Sony ATV with them. We also they did a joint venture with me and a joint venture with Mitchell as well. So we all, when me and Mitchell first signed pub deals, me and him were like tag teaming all of our rights together. We're damn near a duo. We were doing all kinds of stuff, just the two of us, because we grew up making songs together our whole life. So
Yeah.
when the Warren brothers showed interest in me, I was like, well, Mitchell's like my older brother, and I'm doing this because I always wanted to impress him anyway. So he's got to come. I'm
Yeah.
not signing a pub deal before he signs a pub
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, dude, I mean, God, lucky and being in the right place at the right time is all a big part of it. But I think showing up and having a little bit of that delusion I was talking about of just not knowing any better, not being afraid of all the ways that this can go terribly wrong.
Yeah.
Um, and don't think about, dude, we're gonna die one day, and then it's over. So just run, and then worry about dying later. Like
Yes.
all the things that can go wrong. Cool, I could go get coffee and get hit by a car. Like these things can go wrong. I could put a song out, it flop. It doesn't matter. I'm addicted to showing up every day with nothing and maybe leaving with something that makes a lot of money or maybe leaving with something that doesn't make any money.
Right.
But the creation process is what I'm addicted to.
Mm.
And then the entertainer thing is another itch that I get to scratch. And I was willing to give that up when COVID happened. I was like, well, fuck,
Yeah.
whatever momentum I had there and for everybody is at a complete stop.
Yeah.
Um, and then, 2 months into COVID, I had my first number one. And the 4 months after that, I had two more. So, like, COVID, as the world stopped for everybody, that's when the lights got turned on in my world. And,
Yeah.
we got pregnant, had a kid, the world started turning again, and we've been touring ever since. So, um, showing up and not caring about the ways things that could go wrong is what got me to the circle. And
Yeah, that makes sense. You spoke there for a moment of like, so you're addicted to this creative process, and you mentioned that like you like to show up and have nothing, then you end with with something. Take me through a creative day like that. Do you really show up? There's no voice memo on your phone usually. There's no line that you want to work on. You just show up in the room and then you want to take it from zero to something?
Yeah, every now and then I'll have an idea. We'll say something at the bar. It sounds like a title. I'll write it down. But like,
Sure.
I I'm not. It's not my style. I don't have like 100 titles sitting in one note that we'll
Yeah.
go through at the beginning of a session. If I have an idea, I'll usually immediately voice note or call another writer to
Hmm.
get the idea off my head so that they can be thinking about it, and then we'll get a day and we'll go pinpoint that if that's the way we're going to take it. But like yesterday, I was tracking a song, which we're tracking two songs in the studio at Ocean Way. They got down the road on the first song, and I came over here to the building. A couple of my buddies were writing; they were just getting started. I hop in the room, freestyle for a minute. We get some shit going. We write a song in like 45 minutes, and I go back and we finish recording what we were doing in the like.
That's
You
funny
just
shit.
show up. I just didn't know, there might be something cool in there, so I'm gonna go show up. That's another cool thing about being a publisher. I can go sniff around these rooms and be like, mind if I hop in on this? But yeah, that's it, bro. I show up every day. My schedule is actually pretty chill in the week, but I write every day. I'd rather not be bound to I have to show up. I'm gonna
Mhm.
show up, but I might show up in a different room than I would have been scheduled in.
So Ernest, you're a publisher now. I don't
Yeah,
think I knew that,
Ernest
but
Cadillac Music.
no shit. Okay, so you're signing guys and coming in, and generally guys that are younger than you, and you go in and write with them as well.
Yeah, yeah. I got Chandler Walters who plays pedal steel for me, and then Rafe Tenpenny, Mitchell's brother. Who me and Rafe were the same age. We were in when I met Rafe. We were in fifth grade. Mitchell was in eighth grade. So like our crews were always like 3 years apart, but always together because we'd always hang out at Rafe's house.
Hmm.
So I got into this shit because of Rafe and Mitchell Tenpenny. So
Yeah,
we're gonna take this all the way together. And
yeah.
Mitchell's involved on the publishing side with Rafe, so we both got to kind of sign Rafe and get him in. And then Reese Rutherford, who's Rivers Rutherford's son,
Okay.
uh, and which was also side note, my wife's mom named Reese.
Oh, all right.
So they go. It's a full circle. Delaney's dad was friends with Rivers when Rivers first came to town and kind of mentored him, and then
No shit.
20 years later, I get to sign Reese.
So you mentioned when you came back to town to start this professionally, you're like, okay, I come back. I'd written these songs down the island, but basically none of them were good. And now you're in a place where, this is your profession and your calling. You're literally signing other people to do it. What are some of the lessons that you had to learn as a writer? What are some of the skills that you had to build up to go from one end of that extreme to the other?
I think being able to pivot and and that it can be as broad of a statement as you want to be, but like if something's not working, then travel light. Be able to move, turn, try something else. You would behoove yourself to not be the best guy in the room every day, but and then when you're not, go away learning something. Like there's days where you're going to be the alpha in the room, and you got to drive the car and do that. And then on days that you're not, recognize that, so
Hmm.
that because then you can throw off everything if you're trying to drive an idea home, but the guy's already got his hands on the wheels. Showing up, like I said, showing
Hmm.
up is nothing's going to happen if you don't show up.
Hmm.
Anything can happen if you show up. And yeah, like have a little bit of just careless wonder. Don't lose the sparkle for the magic that you got into this shit for before you got jaded and told no.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna get jaded. You're gonna get told no. It's gonna happen.
Right.
But have a special little place you can pull out that magic and still go get it, and you're addicted to it. It's like golf, right? It's like fucking I suck at golf, but I'm probably gonna go back and play tomorrow. We're gonna
Yes.
I might hit one. I might hit one really well. It'll feel good.
That's it, man. That's
Yeah.
that's the thing about golf. It's funny, you can watch it happen to people, and it'll happen to people fast too. Like you'll see like a 26-year-old who's acting jaded, and you just think to yourself, man, like as soon as you watch it start to happen to them and they get really jaded and they go in that direction, you can just watch all the opportunities around them, even the few that were there to begin with, just melt away like a forest dying when the witch in Snow White goes through it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like
Yes.
it's crazy to you can watch it happen in real time when people take that direction.
Yep. Yeah, I think, and look, it's easy. It's easy to let that happen too, and because this is, this is no job for the weary. It can be very disheartening, and we're creatives. We're sensitive anyways,
Right.
which is what makes the art good. And I think that, I'm able to write through my sad times. I kind of rely on it. A lot of my sad times are self inflicted because I like writing sad songs.
Yeah.
Um, and that's my toxic trait. So but I think getting jaded can happen pretty easily, and it's okay to be jaded for a little bit, but to be able to snap out of it and go back and get the ball is the best way to go about it.
You mentioned that it's good to not always be the best writer in the room. In your experience, who are some of the songwriters that just have this jump out of the gym talent that every time you go in the room with them, you're like, man, that's going to be the guy steering the ship?
God, Ashley Gorley, Rodney Clausen, Craig Wiseman, man. I mean, Charlie Handsome, as far as track guys go, and just ideas and guitar player. Me and him we're batting 1,000 on our success. We met in 2017, and we kind of the Morgan Wallen era, as you know it, was kind of Charlie and me and Morgan messing around and that snap track cool shit, like from If I Know Me to Heartless, all that's the Charlie Handsome, me and Morgan link up, and to Broadway Girls, to Wasted on You, You Proof. Like, Charlie just has sauce, and he's a young guy. He's an LA guy. He's not a true He's not. He's
Ah,
moved to Nashville, but like when you think Nashville country songwriters, most people are gonna say the Rodneys and Ashley and Craig Wiseman and Rhett Akins, Dallas Davidson, all those guys. But sneaky Charlie Handsome. Every time I go in a room with Charlie, we come out with something pretty fucking cool.
yeah.
So I got to add him to the list too.
So before that kind of era, and you mentioned you call it the Morgan Wallen era. I get that, but before that, I think your first hit was it with Florida Georgia Line?
Yeah, my first Florida Georgia Line and Charlie.
Oh, okay. There you go. So what did that feel like? I mean, you'd been kind of toiling for a long time, for 5 or 6 years, it sounds like, and then you finally have something hit pay dirt. I mean, what did that feel like as it happened?
Incredible, and that was another one of those small world perfect circles, because Brian and Tyler took me under their wing as well really early on, and take chances writing with me, even when I was still writing just rap shit. Like, they'd have me over and come over and hang and write. And so for my first, they were the first tour bus I stepped on, just in awe of it all. And to have my first number one be with them was an awesome little God wink.
Yeah.
And it was, 2 months into COVID.
Yeah.
Uh,
Could you feel it happening? Like, what was the process of seeing it happen? Like, oh man, this one's climbing the chart a little bit.
yeah, well, you get a good especially at the time when Florida Georgia Line put a song on the radio. There's a good chance it's going.
Gotcha.
So even getting the single, I was fired up. Like, getting a cut is always awesome, but as you know, getting a single is where the money starts to happen. And at that time, I wasn't even registering a single as money. I was registering that as, oh, now, like, okay, I got one going. Now my
Yeah.
opportunities are gonna the opportunities you get from a single almost outweigh the money, just because then your name's hot, and that's invaluable when
Yeah.
people are gonna look at the credits, who's on it. Okay, let's write with him. And then my name started. Hardy did it first, as far as you kind of build that reputation of, oh, this guy's writing everything.
Hmm.
I want to hear what his stuff is, because the writer thing took first, and then the artistry. And so building the reputation in town, my name starts showing up on credits across the board. And then, oh, he's putting his own music out. So now people can kind of get to know me before they even knew me.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So you didn't think about the single making money first when it first came out. It wasn't until you had your kid that you realized that the single made money. That's when you started thinking.
Yeah,
In my
exactly.
in my
I didn't know
experience, at
what having
least.
money felt like. I just,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
what do you mean money? You get a couple
But
grand? Cool.
as soon as your wife says she's pregnant, you're like, all right, we need to start thinking about some fucking money here.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, Ryman brought money. We say that all the time. Life got a little bit fruitful as soon as Ryman showed up.
so you,
We haven't been able to be rich without a kid, and we never will. But,
it's
but
too bad, man. I wish you could have gotten at least 6 months to a year in there.
yeah, not even
Um,
6 weeks.
yeah. But so, you know, it's interesting. You mentioned like for you, you much prefer the opportunities that came from that success than the money almost because it multiplies and like instead of like digging in and continuing exclusively to write for other people, you use this opportunity to step into an artist career. Was this always the plan to step into an artist career? Because not everyone makes that jump and it's a hard jump to make.
Definitely, yeah, yeah. I mean, I was pursuing the artist thing while writing songs, but I was doing more like R&B rap stuff, like 22, 23, 24,
Hmm.
and that's when I met Brian and Tyler and the Big Loud crew and all that. Um, like I opened for Lupe Fiasco. I
Oh
opened
wow.
for Mike Stud. I was rapping and like
Wow.
going on tour rapping, and I would play some country songs on acoustic in the meantime. Like I was opening for Mike Stud 2018 and rapping, and then I would pull out my guitar and I'd play "You Can't Drink All Day If You Don't Start in the Mornings." I had a Jake Owen cut at the time, so like I was doing both, but I hadn't fully committed to being a country artist because I didn't like the landscape of country music in 2019 was so different than it is now. I just didn't see like where I was at didn't fit into that. And being from Nashville, it was like, oh, it's so cliche. Of course, I'd be a country artist. I'm gonna do something else. So, meanwhile, I'm starting to stack a catalog writing and getting my reputation up as a writer in the country world. And probably right around the time I was touring with Mike as a rapper, I was simultaneously putting together the Locals Only album,
Hmm.
which was, my time in the islands and country music, and that was my okay. I'm committed to doing country music. I was doing the tour to make some extra money, and
Hmm.
and whatever that was. Like I think I saw a check in my shoebox the other day. It was like $375.
Yeah.
That was what I was making for a show. We'd get 3 shows a weekend or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Yes.
And but yeah, so then I committed to the country thing, and it's just been pedaled down ever since.
Was there anyone in your corner creatively that you trusted that was kind of helping push you in that direction, or did that come from the outside, or from the inside out?
Both actually. One of my buddies, a Nashville rapper, his name's Petty. I would always go sit on his front porch over in East Nashville. He's like 3 years older than me, and he's just wise beyond his years. And we'd sit on his porch and smoke blunts and just talk life. And he told me for years, he's like, bro, if you want to do this country thing, you could do the country thing, and you'd fuck it up. He's like, people will respect you as a country singer, and I just kind of shot it off, and we'd be freestyle, we'd be rapping and stuff. Yeah, whatever. This is more fun. And then when Locals Only, I played him the Locals Only record. He was like, "I'm telling you, Aaron, you need to just stick to
Yeah.
country, do it." And yeah, I give Petty credit for that, but I mean, Delaney was in my ear too. I think it took Petty telling me, but other people had been telling me. But I've always really looked up to Petty, and when he said that over and over, and it clicked for me. Uh, yeah, I'm just not. I don't want to slow down. It's fun, bro. The country music is fun now. The landscape right now is awesome,
Yeah.
and I think I've been able to have a hand in that, and it's like curate the landscape of which I'm going to play in. So
Yeah, yeah. No, it is very different than it was 4 years ago. And so, kind of writing within that paradigm, which is like it's hitting this amazing crest. Like, do you feel like that focuses your songwriting in a way because you feel like you know what the voice is right now in this moment for country music?
yes, yes and no, because trying to write what is right now is a losing game because it's such a moving target, especially now with how fast shit is.
Yes.
You never know what happens tomorrow. I don't know, but um, songwriting is what got me here, and it'll get me where I'm going, wherever that is. And I think artists writing songs is more of a thing again now.
It
Like
is really. Okay.
the artists have what they know what they want to say. I know what I want to say, and some of the people I write for I know well enough to where I have a pretty good idea what they want to say if we're going to go in and write for somebody else. But for me, I'm just going to write whatever today. I'm going to write whatever tomorrow, and in 6 weeks there'll be a handful of songs, and maybe some of them fit a project for me. And the ones that don't, then I can divvy those out, or they're just a song that we wrote that nobody will ever hear, and it'll get me to the next one.
Right. So
Yeah,
I hear like this recurring theme of you. It's like you keep on talking about showing up. To you, it's like getting shots up at the basket. Doesn't matter if you hit your first shot or your 15th shot, as long as a shot is
yeah.
hit.
I'm shooting.
Yeah,
We're just
just
shooting.
shooting, just shooting.
Yeah.
Well, right on, man. Well, love to hear it, and thanks for being on the show, man. I
Thanks
really
for
appreciate
having
it.
me. I
Yeah, yeah.
appreciate it.
My pleasure, brother. Okay. Hey, just one moment. I'm just going to hit